Now, I'm going to ask you a question, a real deal question. If I would have shown you this before the game, what do you think the final outcome would have been? I got a lot to say about this Colorado UCLA game. A lot to say. So first things first. I got a Buc-ee's near my crib, and if you don't know what Buc-ee's is, it's like the world's biggest gas station, something like that. And I've been seeing this there. So, see this is a pecan praline. I've never had one before. It intrigued me, so I'm get a lot of taste tests. Is this a new segment on the channel? Taste test with Matt Donut. Well, actually, I'll just take a quick bite right here. Get a nice bite of that pecan. I guess it's like a glaze on it. Okay. That's different. Kind of good. Can't tell if I like it or not. Scale of 1 to 10. I'm giving that a cool 7.5. I was going to say 7 in between. 7.5, I'm good with that. Pretty good. It's not too sweet. I don't like a lot of sweet stuff. It's not too sweet because it's got the pecan in there. That's decent. But for $2.49, I don't know about all that. Yeah, but anyways, you're not here for the food reviews. You are here for the Colorado UCLA game. Let me tell you this story though before we really get into this video. So at about 4:20, well, it's probably like 4:30, something around that time frame. Well, my girlfriend, she calls me up and was like, "Hey, what are you doing? We made a small talk, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I was watching some of the games." And she proceeds to say, "Oh, well, me and a couple of my girlfriends, we're going to this haunted house tonight. I want to see if you want to come." I said, yeah, I'd love to, but unfortunately, I'm going to watch the other games that come on tonight. And she was like, "You can't just skip one night of college football?" You should see my face when she said that. Skip a night of college football? That's what I said to her. And she said, "Yeah, it's Halloween. Halloween weekend, it's only one time a year." I said, "Okay, you're right. That's a fair point." But guess what? Week 9 of college football is only once a year. And she didn't know what to say. And she tried to rebuttal and was like, "Come on, it's going to be fine." I just hung up. She was getting annoying. So that's some advice for you fellas. Halloween is once a year, but so is week 9. You got to look at it from this perspective, my guys. Girls come and go, but college football and the bros, the homies, they last forever. All right? So that's my little story of what happened today. Let's get back on track with a video. First things first, I gotta say this, guys. It's not looking good for Colorado. I predicted UCLA to win this game, but I thought it was going to be closer. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, go watch the previous video, I had UCLA by 10 points. They wound up winning 28-16. It really wasn't even that close. Colorado got a late touchdown at the end to make it more respectable than what it actually was. It was 28-9 at the end of the game, and you know how that goes. UCLA is just kind of letting them score, just bleed the clock a little bit. Well, they're not letting them score, but you get my point. Not trying as hard. As far as it goes for Colorado, my biggest takeaway from this game is, how is Shedeur Sanders alive? I am asking a serious question. How is that man walking? Good gosh, you hear the phrase a sitting duck. No. Shedeur Sanders was a sitting duck back there tonight. I felt bad for him. I really did. Whew. My prayers and thoughts go out to you, Shedeur. I hope you're going to need like probably 4 straight days of ice baths in the morning, lunch, afternoon, and at dinner. And probably you got to wake up at 2 a.m. to take another. Because he was taking lick after lick after lick after lick after lick. And not just the sacks. And we'll put this up in a second. Off the top of my head, I think he got sacked 7 times. It might have been 8. But he had to get hit at least 25 times. At least. Man, and I'm not talking about just some like 2-hand touch, like shoving them. Now they were boom, boom, boom. Like they was out here like Matt. Tee the ball up nice and high. Yeah, he gone. That's what they were doing. Matt, what are you doing, dog? I don't even know what that was. I apologize if that was corny and cringy. Why am I talking about golf? Who knows? But getting back on track here, the point is, Shadur Sanders, he couldn't do anything back there. And the funny thing is, when he had a split second of time, just a couple seconds, he was making great throws. I'm not convinced, or I'm not sold on the fact that if you don't put Shadur Sanders on Alabama, you put him on Alabama or USC. Just give him a half-decent O-line. This dude is arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the country. Right now, I still think he's arguably one of the best quarterbacks in the country, but it's hard to tell because he doesn't have time to pass. But I thought Shadur played good. I'll pull up his numbers in just a second. I don't know what he wound up finishing. I don't think he threw an interception. I don't think he did. But my biggest takeaway from this game is Colorado's still continuing to get worse, and it's a dang shame the bye week didn't help him out. That's embarrassing to me. You had a bye week to fix stuff, and somehow, some way, you managed to get worse after the bye week. How are you not embarrassed? If the performance against Stanford didn't wake some of y'all up, I don't know what will. And my Colorado fans, love you guys to death. Some of the best fans out there, but I tried telling y'all at the beginning of the year, you're going 5-7. I told you before this game in the preview, you're going to be lucky just to win one out of your next 5 games. You're not favored in any of them. And UCLA was probably one of the worst teams you're going to play in this 5-game stretch. Arizona might be probably worse or the worst, but Arizona's on the rise. They've been playing teams pretty dang good. They beat Washington State by 40 the other night. That's a different conversation for a different day. We'll talk about that later in the week. But getting back on track here with the game, offense for Colorado wasn't there, and we know this. If Colorado's offense doesn't show up, I heard something. If Colorado's offense doesn't show up, they ain't got a shot in the dark to win. And here's the craziest part about this. UCLA had not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 turnovers in the first half. Not even the whole game. In the first half, they had 4 turnovers, and they still won this game easily. What if UCLA would have played good? What if they would have converted those? I mean, their running back had Did y'all see that? Where their running back had back-to-back identical fumbles. Breaks through, he's into the secondary, lowers his head, tries to truck a safety or cornerback, boom. Ball pops out. The first one was Shiloh, and I expect that as Shiloh. He's just a ball hawk. He's just like his dad. He's going to make big-time plays. But then, I think it was either the next drive or the drive after that, running back does it again in Colorado's territory. Then they throw an interception. They had 2 interceptions. Travis Hunter, he's back, but what's new? I mean, Travis Hunter's a straight-up stud. I expect him to make plays like that. My point is in all of this, Colorado had every chance to somehow just stay in this game. Everything went their way to win this game. You forced 4 turnovers in the first half, and you still got blown out pretty much. Yeah, you lost by 12 on paper, but wasn't even that close at the end. I don't know where you go from here. UCLA tried to gift you the game. They did. They wrapped it up in a present and threw it at you. You couldn't even catch it. The defense is still the worst in the country, and that's not even my humble opinion. That's according to the stats. They're still easily the worst in the country. But now, with the bye week, you're coming off a bye week, your offense can't score and put up points. Granted, do need to throw this in there, UCLA they got a ferocious pass rush. So if you want to chalk it up to UCLA, just got some good edge rushers and they got a good defense. I ain't got a problem with that. I said coming into the game, UCLA's got better defense than what most people think. But let's pull up some of these stats. Why not? I'm not going to write this down, but I'll read it off to you guys. Colorado had 255 total yards. Offense was non-existent. And UCLA had 487 total yards. And it felt like UCLA wasn't even moving the ball that good. Colorado had 38 rushing yards. They're one of the worst rushing teams in the country, if not the worst. I'll get to that in just a second. And UCLA had 218 rushing yards. But here's going to be my focal point. Yeah, I mean, it's what I've harped on this entire video, so I'm not going to stray away from it. Like I told you guys, UCLA had 4 turnovers. Guess how many Colorado had? Da-na-na-na-na-na. Time's up, buddy. 0. Now, I'm going to ask you a question, a real deal question. If I would have shown you this before the game, what do you think the final outcome would have been? I guarantee every single one of you, or at least 80% of you would have said, oh yeah, Colorado probably won this game. And I would have said the same thing. But yet, they didn't just not win the game. They weren't even in the game. They got blown out pretty much. It's crazy, man, how you can win the turnover battle by 4 and still get blown out. It goes back to this. I'm not even going to blame Colorado's defense too much because I've already yapped about them enough this entire year. We know they suck. I'm not going to get up here and keep saying it. Nothing's going to change. They suck. They did play a little. I'll give them some credit because they did force the turnover. I mean, they forced them. They knocked the ball out. So clap it up a little bit to them if you want to. My biggest takeaway from this game is, okay, your defense still sucks, but your offense is somehow taking a step backwards. You can't block anybody. And we've known that all year long, but this year, not this year, my apologies. This game, it just got exposed even worse. It looked worse. It was almost hard to watch. It was a hard watch. Just watching every single time Shedeur Sanders drop back, sack, hit, don't even have time to pass. But here's what I blame it on, and we'll end off the video here. Why didn't they run the ball in the second half? Because you understand, and I know a lot of you have your favorite team, and it's 2nd and 10, and they do a run up the middle for 1 yard, and you're like, oh my gosh, why are we running the ball in 2nd and 10? Well, a lot of times you just run the ball to keep the defense honest, to keep them on their heels a little bit. Even if you run, say your college football team you go for, maybe it's Colorado. Yes, Colorado is an awful running team, but you still got to do it even if you're only going to get 1 to 2 yards per carry to keep the defense on their heels and keep them off balance. Whereas, if you drop back to pass every single play like they were doing to start the second half, you know what the defense can do? They can pin their ears back, and that's how you get all these sacks happening and big disastrous plays and bada boom, bada bing. You got to run the ball a little bit more, at least in my humble opinion. And I think Colorado can be successful running the ball, using Dylan Edwards, using McCaskill, the guy that came in from Houston. I believe it was Houston. Because they were running it at the end of the game, and it was working, but it was too late. Got to run the ball more. Shedeur's got to get some help, man. You got to run the ball more. Shedeur Sanders has got to get some help. That's all I got to say. I'm very curious, though. Let me know your thoughts down below. But